In the south of Gaza, Palestinians are trying to find shelter. Many have fled here on Israel's order, believing it to be safer than the north.
There's bombing everywhere around us. They told us to leave Gaza, to come here to safety, but even here, it's not safe.
Asma and her family came from Sheikh Radwan to Khan Yunis on foot, a 7-hour journey.
We don't want food, we just want to return to our homes. We want calm, we want safety.
Huda says her daughter, the flower of the household, died when their home collapsed on top of them.
Now we're living in tents, humiliated. We don't have water or food or anything at all. We fled with the clothes on our backs.
Many of Gaza's residents are down to one meal a day and drinking dirty water. Supplies are scarce, particularly fuel, which Israel is not including in the aid finally allowed to enter Gaza.
There's no gas, no diesel, nothing at all. People are now cooking on wood. We've reached the Stone Age.
Despite Israel's earlier directive for Palestinians in the north to evacuate to what it called safe zones, places like Khan Yunis are suffering intense bombardment, and entire families are being wiped out. Closer to the bombing too is the hospital, where people wait to receive the mostly young patients as well as the dead. Even aid workers, the UN agency that distributes aid to Palestinians, said 14 of its staff have been killed so far. This girl is crying out for her mother, who's nowhere to be seen. Doctors treated at least 80 injured patients from the blast, using only the light from mobile phones.
Between the wounded patient, we left 2 of them to face death because we don't have ventilator for them.
Vital humanitarian aid is technically allowed to enter into Gaza today through Egypt, but because of Israeli airstrikes, the roads around that border crossing are so damaged they will need to be repaired. So it's highly unlikely that aid will enter today. It could be several days, in fact. It means that there are 200 trucks and 3,000 tonnes of aid just sitting at the border waiting.
As the first batch of US armoured vehicles landed in Israel, the US Commander-in-Chief made the case to Americans in a rare Oval Office address for more funding for Israel.
To support our critical partners, including Israel and Ukraine, is a smart investment that's going to pay dividends for American security for generations.
Western support for Israel continued when British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak flew in to Tel Aviv.
We will stand with your people, and we also want you to win.
Israel's Prime Minister echoing that encouragement to his troops on the border with Gaza. We are going to win with all our might. Are you ready? He says. Yeah! Israel has amassed more than 300,000 troops along the border since Hamas's cross-border attack, and now one of the most telling signs yet of a ground invasion.
Anyone who sees Gaza now from a distance will soon see it from the inside.
The message not only for Israeli troops, but for Hamas stationed within Gaza.
Israel's determination to launch a land-based campaign in Gaza will see a dramatic escalation of tensions in the region. Middle East correspondent Allyson Horn is in Israel with the latest.
Well, there's a lot of speculation about the timing of a possible ground offensive. Starting tonight, local time, and into Saturday is the Sabbath, the traditional day of Jewish rest. But under Jewish law, you can break the Sabbath if there is a risk to Jewish life. And even in 2009, when Israel launched a ground offensive into Gaza, then it happened on Saturday, on Shabbat. So it wouldn't be unheard of to happen tomorrow. I've just been down closer to the Gaza border, and there are hundreds of army tanks stationed in fields there, which could suggest they are ready and waiting. And now that world leaders have all left Israel, there is no immediate barrier to a ground invasion. And given the rhetoric we've heard from the Defence Minister saying his troops will soon see Gaza from the inside, it is a strong suggestion that they are now ready to go. The next big question would be, how will the rest of the Middle East respond? Although Arab nations are angry, and we've seen violent protests over the last few days, there doesn't seem to be an immediate appetite to join this war, although we know that could change quite quickly with the increasing number of casualties in Gaza.